Hey, welcome back to the Restoration Station. This is Project Mockingbird. It is a Firebird, of course, and we're working on getting the trunk floor and frame rails installed, so we need to get the old one out. So I'm not entirely sure what or how we're going to do it. I figure we just wing it. All right, so the jokes don't get any better. Before we put this in, I've done some prep work. We've moved the car body forward. Hi, Dave, this is his car. We've moved it forward. It has room back here because it is like on the other side of this garage door, about 20 degrees of not warm. And it's a little cold out there for me. So I've moved everything forward. I have trued everything back up because we don't have a frame table. I don't have a frame rack. I don't have a car liner. That doesn't mean we can't get this thing nice and level and good. But I've moved it forward, repositioned the car, got my rocker panel actually level to the floor this time. 20 inches exact everywhere to all the points. So I am now plumb. The twist is out of the body because once I started cutting the frame rails loose from the floor, and I've actually started separating the fender wheel here from this brace, the car now sits level, so our twist problem is resolved. Thank goodness for that. But the reason I leveled it up is I need some good place to measure things from, basically. I want to get some reference points, because as soon as I drop the back of this car out, I want to make sure I'm still in the right location. So I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing. Drop my tape measure to my floor for my point of references. If you guys remember before, it was much bigger, like 34 inches. Now we're like 27, sitting a lot lower now. Then we'll work on cutting the whole trunk floor out of the way. Then when we put it back together, I can make sure I'm at the same height. I'm hoping that this will also, I'm going to measure the frame rail height with the same idea. So when I bring in my new assembly, my frame rail is still the same height from the floor. So I'm going to do some behind the scenes work, some pre-measuring before we cut it out. I'm going to get into that, and then we'll come up with a plan to get all of this cut out. Now, here's our new trunk floor. What we're going to have to do is, I've already got the car, obviously the floor pan separated here, but I've got to separate the fender well from this area here on our car body here behind us. Now, on the passenger side here, I'm not worried about retaining this fender well. It is garbage. It is buckled hardcore from that rear end collision a long time ago. So I'm not going to be nice to this side. Probably just take my air hammer and just rip the thing out, because I'm not using the trunk floor over, and we're not reusing this fender well. I am, however, going to salvage this component, so it will be nice as I separate it from the fender well and try to reuse this piece. And there's also some spot welds here we need to remove that also attach to the trunk floor itself. You got all the ones across here that need to be removed or drilled out. Now, when we get to the other side, I'm going to reuse that inner fender well, so I need to be a little more delicate on separating. I'm only going to separate here, which is already done in the new trunk floor, or a new floor pan. I'll go to the trunk floor and work my way down through here and separate there. And I'll probably just work my air hammer and not bother with drilling it. Then just separate the spot welds and tearing, using most of the, I guess, trying to salvage the fender well, but I don't care if we trash the trunk floor. Again, it's getting replaced. And once I get those separated, probably just take the Sawzall or cutoff wheel and just cut the bottom section of this car out and just let it all fall out the back. It's kind of what's popping in my head. And being a convertible, we also have to separate this panel here from the trunk floor. It's actually spot welded in a few spots across. There's a couple through here, and same on that side. So I'll work getting the air hammer in there and pop all that apart. And then I'll let Dave do the destruction here, cutting out the back of the car with a death wheel, or maybe a Sawzall. That might be the best way. But I'm thinking what we're going to do on it, though, this is all trash, as you can tell. Someone's gabbed it back together and patched it. I'll probably just have them come through here just above all of this bracing and then cut this out so the whole bottom of the car just falls out of the back. And of course, one more thing, we need to separate this here from the car. From the factory, it's spot welded here in the drip rail channel, or the gutter channel here for the trunk seal. But someone's had this out before when they had the collision damage and just spot welded it, some kind of goober weld here. So it'll make it really easy for me to cut, pop the bottom, and so that's gonna come out pretty easy. Then this dirty, ugly madness is gonna come out of here. All right, here's what we come up with. I drew a line here. We're going to take the Sawzall or whatever, coming straight from the fender well, straight out here, cut the quarter panel, come around the back of the car. We're gonna go around this pocket here where that inner brace is at. They're still in decent shape. I already cut that with the cutoff wheel, but you see the idea. I'm gonna come around here. I wanna keep this line intact as a point of reference. And then with this still marker, took the cutoff wheel, cut around these pockets for the frame mount for the bumper brackets. I'm gonna use these same thing as a point of reference, and zip credit straight across the back. Now what I've got set up here on the floor is the bubble level. Now, surprisingly, we know this car was hit hard in the back, but the frame rails are actually true and level to each other. What I've done, though, I'm going to right center line of the rear spring shackle eyelet. I'm going to shoot straight down to my bubble level on my floor and get my measurement here, so that when I go put the new frame rails in, I can keep it the same. But we'll come in at 19 and a half. When I put my new frame rails in, I'm not going to change my dimension from the floor to the rocker panel. So when I install the new frame rails, I should be, same thing, that rear spring shackle right in the middle, I should be 19 and a half inches down to this thing here. So that's my points of reference. So with that being said, where this little magic line is, we're gonna start cutting and get this thing out of here. I'm gonna use my favorite butter cutter. I'm just gonna slap down here between the trunk floor and the fender well. And again, I don't need to be nice, because this side I'm not salvaging anything besides separating it. You get the idea. It's good. Found one little spot on that side there, about a 1/4 inch chunk of metal. Once that's cut, that should dump right there on the floor. So have at it. Well, you would thought it'd fall out of there. It's getting bigger, the gap. Maybe. Oh, there you go. Drop the hammer on it. That's what that's for. Just not giving it up, is it?
Right there in that corner. Finger wheel.
Is it really? Yeah. Hit it harder. That's going. Bingo. As you can see, trunk floor is out of there. And again, this isn't pretty. It doesn't have to be. We're not reusing any of this stuff here. This inner fender well is going to go to the scrap pile. So it looks ugly, but the stuff that's important is the piece here behind it. That is going to stay in place. Just got to clean up the edges, but that looks pretty good. I had one spot weld here that was just fighting the heck out of me. I just couldn't get to it, so do a little repair there. But the back of the seat base, just check out those spot welds, come off real easy. Now there's a little bit of rust there, so I'll have to clean that up, chemically treat it, and then some weld through primer. But that's out of there and cleaned up. Same thing, this little convertible bracing here. We'll clean up that leading edge there. It should come out really nice and go back together really good. And we'll still have to recycle the pump mounting brackets off this floor pan, and then get my measurements where my spare tire to hold down is. Other than that, this whole pile here is going to go to the scrap pile. All right, here's what we've got done here. Cleaned up that edge, weld through primer, all prepped, ready to go. Did the fender well here, did some patching on that. I did a video on that on the Great Pumpkin. Check the link up here if you want to see how to patch that. Next thing here, I'm going to do clean the floor up here, and we'll go ahead and maybe slide that thing into place and see how it's looking. All right, just for fun, stab this thing into place. That frame rail jig worked nice, rolling under the car. Bottle jack, floor jack, didn't take long to slide into place. Laid things in here, just kind of a quick dry test fit. Looks really nice, pulled up good to the doctored up fender well there. Liking the fitment, the convertible bracing there, laying in as it should. So got a little more work yet to do. That's not a final fitment, but maybe the next video I'll get into doing a bunch of measuring and showing you how I get this thing, make sure it is square through the rest of the body before we permanently install that for the last go around. But nonetheless, I wanted to show you what it kind of looked like, and I wanted to see it too. Cutting the little floor out, that new one looks 10,000 times better. All right, another day down on the Mockingbird. Like I said, I'm probably going to get into measuring this and getting it in the exact position before we permanently set that into place. Now, how do I do that? Plumb bobs and tape measures and a lot of luck, but Normally works very good, same way you probably do it yourself. I might buy one of those body trams and might experiment with one of those too if I can get one here fast enough next go around. But nonetheless, appreciate you following me on the journey of the Mockingbird coming back to life. I'm going to keep working on the sheet metal. A lot of videos still coming your way, and I hope to see you guys then.